There is nothing wrong with demanding fairness for the Southeast. Let's be clear and keep the facts straight. But fairness must come with consent and clarity. For too long, the Southeast has remained shortchanged with only 5 states, while other geopolitical zones have 6 and the Northwest has 7. So on the surface, the agitation for the creation of ANIM State sounds legitimate, reasonable, even just. And that is where the real danger begins. Because what is being presented to the public as a struggle for equity is beginning to look to many discerning minds like something far more strategic, something more calculated, something that could leave Imo State stripped of its economic backbone in the name of political restructuring. This is no longer just a debate about state creation. It is now a battle over territory, a battle over consent, a battle over resources, and a battle over whether Ndi Imo will stand up now or wake up tomorrow to discover that the economic belt of the state has been quietly carved away by determined business interests and interested political actors. Let us be clear. No one is saying people do not have the right to agitate for ANIM State. They do. The Constitution provides a pathway for state creation. People can lobby, organize, persuade, and campaign for what they believe is fair. But there is one thing they cannot do honorably: force communities into a new state arrangement against their will. They cannot speak of justice while ignoring consent. They cannot preach equity while redrawing the economic map of Imo State without the full agreement of the people whose land and resources are at stake. That is the heart of the matter. Ohaji, Egbema, and Oguta are not just dots on a map. They are the economic lifeline of Imo State, tied to oil wells, gas reserves, and strategic infrastructure. When you hear the noise about a new state, don't just listen to the rhetoric. Follow the geography, follow the resources. Ask yourself, why does the most resource-rich corridor of Imo keep surfacing in this new design? Because once business interests enter the room, sentiment takes a backseat. What is sold as fairness can be a mercantile project driven by oil, gas, and future economic leverage. This is why Ndi Imo must not sleep. Ohaji and Egbema are not accidental appendages. They are historically, geographically, administratively, culturally, and economically tied to Imo State. Their institutional relationships, their mobility patterns, their religious alignments, and their everyday administrative realities have long connected them to Owerri and the Imo political structure. These are not floating communities waiting to be transferred at the convenience of ambitious map drawers in Abuja. They are rooted communities, and if those communities are saying clearly that they do not want to be carved out of Imo, then their voices must matter. That is the issue many promoters of this project do not want to confront. Consent, not noise, not propaganda, not political poetry. Consent. If communities object, their objection cannot be treated as background irritation. If oil-producing communities have made it clear that they prefer to remain in Imo, then nobody has the moral authority to wave them away as though they are mere obstacles to a grand political dream. Because once you ignore consent, what you have is no longer justice. It becomes calculated dispossession. And that is why the silence of many leaders is disturbing. Where are the voices of those elected to defend Imo State? Where are the senators? Where are the lawmakers? Where are the power brokers who should by now be speaking with clarity and courage? Why does it appear that citizens are more alarmed than those officially entrusted with the protection of the state's territorial and economic coherence? Silence in a matter like this is not neutrality. Silence is dangerous. Because if Imo loses the Ohaji Egbema Oguta economic belt, it is not losing empty land. It is losing strategic depth. It is losing energy relevance. It is losing economic leverage. It is risking future federal strength. It is risking long-term viability. And when that kind of loss happens, regret will be useless. This is why Ndi Imo must rise above indifference. This is why this matter must not be dismissed as elite politics. This is why every serious son and daughter of Imo must ask questions now, not later. Who was consulted? Who agreed? Who objected? Who is silent? Who benefits? And why does the proposed map seem to lean so conveniently toward the resource belt? These are not hateful questions. They are necessary questions. Nobody should be bullied into accepting a new political arrangement simply because it is wrapped in the language of Southeast justice. Justice cannot be selective. Equity cannot be one-sided. Inclusion cannot begin by ignoring the clearly stated wishes of affected communities. Yes, pursue ANIM if you believe in it, but do not build it on the forced absorption of communities that do not want to go. Do not build it on the weakening of Imo State. Do not build it on the quiet transfer of oil and gas assets under the cover of constitutional reform. Ndi Imo must therefore be vigilant. Not because state creation is evil, but because hidden interests are real. Not because fairness for the Southeast is wrong, but because fairness for one group must not become dispossession for another. Not because agitation is a crime, but because no agitation is noble when it tramples on consent. This is the hour to speak. This is the hour to question. This is the hour to defend Imo. Because if the people do not stand up now, one day they may wake up and discover that the economic base of Imo State has been carved away by determined interest, while everybody else was busy playing politics. And by then, the damage would already be done. If this is truly about justice, let justice begin with consent. If this is truly about equity, let equity begin with consultation. If this is truly about restructuring, let it not become a polite name for economic capture. Ndi Imo, shine your eyes. Your future may depend on it. For more insightful articles and a treasure trove of information, please visit the website www.oblongmedia.net.